Come to me, the words of Jesus himself, come to me. Bring your burdens to him and let him become your yoke. This is our series leading up to Lent. And we have to keep reflecting on that call of Jesus to come to him. As I was praying over these particular scriptures, you see a lot of the same theme that shows up quite a few times, as a matter of fact. This whole image of light in darkness. The light that breaks into the darkness. Now, I've always said this, and I'll always continue to say this. We sometimes don't realize how powerful light is, how much it stirs us. Even as the days are getting longer, have you noticed how you feel a little bit better because there's a little bit more light, and it's a lot easier to get around in the morning and in the evening? But notice that even in the darkest room, one tiny little match breaks the darkness. And so, for all of us, as we journey, we have to always be seeking to go to the light, to go to Jesus Christ. I was remembering a situation we had. There's a lot of things you don't know about people until you know it. I was in the youth group, and we were all together. We were having our youth meetings way back in the 70s. That's how long ago it was, last century even. But, it was so long ago. But there we were together with the youth minister, and we were all, going through a lesson with him, and we were praying together and doing a bunch of things. But the room that we were in was kind of like a basement with very few windows, and it was evening. And all of a sudden there was a power outage. And the room was pitch black. I mean, boom, it was suddenly black. But one girl started screaming and yelling, and she just had this reaction. We all panicked. And the youth minister said, let's all just pray for her. And we gathered around and we prayed, and we asked the Spirit to come upon her, to calm her down, to bring her peace in this moment where she was so panicked and terrorized. And then the lights came back on. So we don't know if that was our prayer or... But here's the thing. We started to pray with her, and this is the first time we all found out that she had such a horrific fear of the dark. And there are people who have that, but we had to ask her to ask God to heal her so that she could start to function a little bit more normally. The reaction was just so powerful that we all recognized that there was something behind all of it. And so we kept praying over her, and we kept asking her every time we got together, till finally the realization came that the demons that had been chasing her since she was a little girl came from the fact that when her father was left alone with her, he would lock her in a dark closet while he went to go have his booze. And it was just torturing her and torturing her. For 2-3 years, she went through this. And then all of a sudden we said, now we know what to pray for. The healing of those horrible memories. The healing of those long hours sitting in that darkness, being tortured. And then we began to say, let's bring it all to Jesus. And we placed it before the feet of Jesus. And sure enough, she overcame her fear of darkness by just coming to Jesus. Come to me, the Lord says. And we say the same thing over and over again, don't we? When did we lose that zeal for the Lord? When did we lose that zeal for his healing power? It seems to me today that we Catholics, we'll just do it alone. We'll just go off on our own. We'll fix our own problems. We'll fix that person that hurts us. Or we'll continue to do what we do because, well, that's what I've always done, even though it might be hurting you. No, we're supposed to bring it all to the Lord. And a big part of come to me means something has to change. And we don't like change too much. I mean, heaven forbid, we change even little things in the Catholic Church. People go nuts nowadays. They go crazy. But no, sometimes it means we have to change. We have to do something different. If we keep doing the same thing and expecting different results, well, that's a definition of insanity. It's not going to change unless something changes. And so we're men and women of faith. You're all men and women of faith. You believe in Jesus Christ. But there has to be a zeal behind that belief. There has to be an excitement behind that belief. And so we need truly to be praying for one another. First, praying for our own healing. Whatever demons continue to chase us and whatever demons continue to hold us back, we need to pray for that healing. We need to pray that the hurts be lifted. We need to pray that the pains that we carry with us be wiped out. But also, too, we need to pray for one another. And so that's why for the Mondays of Lent, we're going to have holy hours every Monday. We're going to take the Holy Hour for Life, but we're going to change it to prayers for healing. We're going to be following a specific pattern of readings and prayers so that for you especially, you can come here and come before the Lord. And here's especially what we're going to ask you to do. Invite someone you know who needs healing really bad. Maybe it's a lost Catholic, maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's a child, maybe it's someone that just needs to come to Jesus. Come to me, he says. And yet sometimes when we're hurting, we run from him. This powerful image of light and darkness, one of the things that we have to grapple with is that Jesus is the light, and I'm not. Even though he says you are the light of the world, he really is the light, because whatever light I can be is a reflection of him. Think about the images that we have. I always ponder this. If you remember the song from Pink Floyd, The Dark Side of the Moon, and that little cryptic message at the end, there is no dark side of the moon, because as a matter of fact, it's all dark. The moon that you see, the full moon that we had the other night, was so beautiful, but it reminded me it's a reflection of the light that comes from the sun. You, my dear brothers and sisters, turn and face Christ. That's the change we have to make. To turn and to face Jesus so that his light will reflect off of us to others. To those who are in bad need of Christ. They may be turned away, they may be looking this way, but you're facing the light. And so you can be light for them. Reach out to that person, help them to turn to see the light directly. Our lives weave a basket, if you will. Jesus said, you don't light a lamp and then cover it, but yet all of the things or personal histories that we bring to Jesus can become a woven basket that prevents us, even ourselves, from seeing the light. And so what has to change is our sinfulness, is our propensity to hurt one another, of our propensity to offend God. And little by little, when we bring that to Jesus on those Monday nights, he will help us break that down so that once again, we can truly reflect the light of Christ. And I'm going to say this to my dying day, this world needs the light of Christ desperately, and if not you, who? Jesus Christ's real presence in the Eucharist is what we face. And when we receive the light of Christ, when we receive it in baptism, when we receive it in the sacraments, it empowers us to bring that light to others. And so things do have to change for all of us. Things do have to be amended, if you will. Our behaviors, our attitudes, the things that we do have to change. But also, too, in the midst of all of this, we need to be supporting and holding on to one another and loving one another and caring for one another. So pray for the healing and conversion of others. Pray for the healing and conversion of those you know, and then bring them to Jesus Christ. It's the only place where healing can take place. It's the only place where we know that Jesus Christ himself will come to us and heal us. And the best way to do that is on our knees before the Blessed Sacrament. As I said a couple of weeks ago, remember, when we talk about the Eucharist, we are not talking about a what, but a who. The Eucharist is the real presence, body, blood, soul, and divinity of the healing power of Jesus Christ. And so I go before the Blessed Sacrament as often as I can, and I pray that God help me to change what needs to be changed in my life so that I can become a stronger light to others. And I pray the same happens for you. May God continue to bless you with his healing grace, and may he call you to himself so that you can come to the light yourself and understand that Christ loves you dearly and asks you to do the same for others. God bless you.